Welcome to the Hour Show once again on IDD TV. Today we sit here with a man who knows everything from the PNDC regime, including the jailbreak and the murder of the 3 judges and the former major. He is a civilian, he is not a military personnel, but we bring him all the way from Ghana to discuss some of the important subject matter. Welcome, Explo Nani Kofi.
I'm Nani Kofi. Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity and a privilege to be here.
Thank you, thank you. When did you actually join the PNDC?
PNDC is not like an organization I want joined.
Okay.
And I want to make it very clear that there is an attempt to make history look like PNDC started history. But there are circumstances in the country and many things which happened before PNDC. For example, Chris Bukari Atim, who was a member of the PNDC, we were in the same university, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Okay.
In fact, after the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, Nkrumah and other people were sending publications into the country so that the vision that Kwame Nkrumah lived for and struggled for would not die. So a young movement started developing from the late early 70s after Nkrumah's overthrow. So when I entered secondary school in 1970, Nkrumah was still alive. And those publications were coming into the country. The Dawn, Osagifo, all these publications, Amanie, all these publications were coming into the country. And so at that time, we were learning and trying to understand the path of Kwame Nkrumah. And when I entered the university, Chris Bukari Atim, who later became a member of the PNDC, was the leader of the study group in our university. So that is where I met him. I didn't meet him after 31st. And we were organizing, and there were organizations in the country which were gradually emerging. They were united by the fact that they were opposed to foreign domination of our country, politically, militarily, culturally, economically. They were for a reorganization of production relations in the country, and they were also for looking at the class control of the state in our country and also developing structures for ordinary people's participation in decision making and for national and Pan-African policy to reflect the interests of the ordinary people and majority of our people and their material well-being and advancement. So by the time PNDC came, there were organizations like the June 4 movement, the New Democratic Movement, the Pan-African Youth Movement, the People's Revolution League of Ghana, the African Youth Command, and even the youth wing, part of the youth wing of the PNP became what they call Kwame Nkrumah Youth League during that time, the organization, the Movement on National Affairs. And all these groups were united by the fact that the way in which the Ghanaian economy and politics is that for it to advance, there has to be a radical change. So even Rawlings, when he was giving an interview to a Nigerian newspaper in August 1981, the year of the coup, he said that, he didn't say that he was creating any movement, he said that he has been working with the June 4 movement, the New Democratic Movement, and the People's Revolution League of Ghana, which meant that he wanted to cooperate with these groups. The other thing is that, as I'm saying, I was a student leader. When I entered university, Chris Bukari Atim, who became a member of the PNDC, was the first national vice chairman of the National Union of Ghana Students. By the time the PNDC came, I had also become the first national vice chairman of the National Union of Ghana Students. The National Union of Ghana Students had built a proud history in its resistance against military rule. Actually, during the time of Acheampong and Akufu, those who were in Ghana, I don't know how old you are, but those who were in Ghana knew that the National Union of Ghana Students had become the main opposition to the military regime in the country. And that is why when the National Union of Ghana Students organized its biggest demonstration, the 13th May 1977, during the campaign against Unigov, it was the biggest demonstration which led to the closure of all universities. The university students took advantage of it went around the whole country with their newspaper, Aluta, educating people against Achampon's Unigov. And so, from 1977, every week, including 13th May, became what they call Aluta Week. In 1978, wait, I'll come to 1979, 15th May in a minute. In 1978, the Legon students kidnapped a policeman from Legon police station and took him and locked him up in Legon. And the military had to go in. Let me land on this particular thing because I want us to see the genesis of 1979. And the military had to go into the university campuses, beat the students, break doors to rescue the policeman. So in 1979, there was again Aluta Week. So a young military officer had seen what happens during Aluta Week and saw that if he succeeds in doing something, he will have the support of the students. So he took advantage of the students' Aluta Week, which included 15th May. And that was even Rawlings himself, when June 4 happened, he went to the universities, he said it himself that it's 13th May which led him to choose 15th May. So it is not Rawlings who started it. We were there before Rawlings came. So he was taking advantage of the Aluta Week. And that is why even on June 4th, when the fighting had not ended, they got students from Legon were in the streets. Led by their SRC president, Kwasi Kamasa, they were in the streets when Odati Wellington was still firing the guns. So the importance, the role of the student movement and the progressive movement is being pushed aside, and history is made to start from the day Rawlings' name was heard. It's incorrect. It's rewriting of history.
Okay. Thank you. That was a very powerful introduction.
Yes, because you are meeting a revolutionary.
Your movement, the student union, yeah?
The National Union of Ghana Students.
Exactly. You just stated that you were opposing military rule, yeah? You stood against military rule. You were in opposition of that. Why did you support Rawlings?
Why? I don't think that saying one supported Rawlings is a wrong way of putting it. That's why people don't understand why we broke with him. Because we were not supporting Rawlings. We tried to work with him. As he said in an interview to the Nigerian Call in August, he was working with these three organizations. So we tried to cooperate with him. We were not following him. What were we going to follow him for? We were not following Rawlings. We have never followed him. In fact, I think many people need to be properly educated. Last time I watched John Indebugri, former PNDC secretary, on Joy News. And he brought a copy of the PNDC proclamation to Joy News, telling people that the PNDC proclamation vested the powers in the council as a collective body of 7 people. And somebody asked him on the interview that Rawlings was chairman. I said, yes, he was chairman, but it was a collective council. He had a casting vote. We were not following Rawlings. We would try to work with him. What were we following him for?
Okay, but you supported him. You supported
No, we are cooperating with him. We didn't support him. We are working together.
Working together?
Yes, yes.
In what capacity?
Oh, we have been building a movement long ago, and he emerged and said he wants to cooperate with our movement. If he wants to cooperate with our movement... So he
approached you
Yes, he approached the movement. Because
but you were in strong opposition of military rule, and he is a military leader. Why did you decide to work with him?
Because, again, the PNDC never presented itself as a military government. It ended up being a military government, and that is part of the confusion that we had. Because
how do you mean by that? That they never presented themselves as
they presented like a collective body of civilians. They had the...
Who were all...
Hold on. There's 7 members of the PNDC.
Right.
Included Chris Atim, a civilian.
Yeah.
Amatekwe was a civilian.
Right.
Sofo Davma was a civilian.
Yeah.
So it's a joint body of civilians and soldiers.
And that just because there were few, so at no point did you ever consider that this is a military
If I had considered like that, if I considered it like that, I would have joined. And the fact is that is why in about 7 months I was in conflict with Rawlings' faction. Because I didn't see it. I didn't join thinking I was joining Rawlings because I was supporting Rawlings. I saw it as continuing the things that I believe in. That's why I made 5 points.
How did Rawlings emerge in the PNDC?
How did he emerge in the PNDC?
Yeah.
He plotted a coup together with Chris Atim. That's why he's a civilian. He plotted a coup together with Chris Atim. As far as I know, they were plotting from Medina. Civilians were involved in the plot. Civilians were recruiting soldiers.
What were you doing?
Even when you interview Adabuga said on your own program that he joined because these socialist boys, Atwastin, Chris Atim, Zayebo and Co. were telling them about how they have to change the system and all that.
Were you given the socialist book to read yourself?
What?
By Rawlings?
How? Rawlings rather getting socialist books from whence? How can Rawlings give me a socialist book? He can give to Adabuga, not me. Because Rawlings, in fact, did even in 1981, on June 5th, he went to Accra Community Center publicly, 5th June 1981, publicly said that Nkrumah was oppressing our country and Kotoka, who is his hero, liberated us from Nkrumah's oppression. And a lot of people, and Kweku Baku and Co. wrote statements saying that if Rawlings is saying this type of things, he cannot be a revolutionary. Some of our friends said that they will give him socialist books to read so he will stop saying those things.
Are you a PNDC or an NDC supporter or the CPP supporter?
I'm not a supporter, I'm a socialist. I don't support things.
You speak quite highly of Nkrumah.
Yes, I speak
quite highly. You like his ideology?
Yes, not only Nkrumah, I work with all socialists. That's why last July, when the former General Secretary of the Union of the Populations of Cameroon, one of the most radical anti-colonial movements that we have ever had in Africa, which is the reason why the French are persecuting him. When their General Secretary died, I was there leading the African Solidarity delegation at his funeral, all the way into Cameroon. So I'm a Pan-Africanist and a socialist. And as far as I'm concerned, there are no boundaries for socialism or Pan-Africanism. So I'm not a
most people perceive Nkrumah's government or himself as a dictator. What do you take on that? When you say you are Pan-Africanist, I mean socialist. Yes. I mean, these are strong words, and not actually giving a fair play.
When I started first, I made 5 points.
Right.
I made 5 points. I'll repeat the 5 points I made in the beginning because maybe you have lost them. So they can be part of the discussion.
No, I understand. Is Nkrumah, in your own view, is he a dictator or was he a dictator?
I think that the problem is not Nkrumah or Akufo-Addo or anything. The system, the capitalist system we have, which had been forced onto us through colonialism, right, which we didn't develop in Africa by ourselves,
right,
does not create room for equal involvement of the people. So Nkrumah inherited the structure which the colonialists left, and different from, hold on, let me finish. And Nkrumah's difference with other people is that that's why I found that this structure which the colonialists left is totally undemocratic. He was seeing how he could do his best in working with it. The fact is that we have learned the lessons from that period. So we, followers of Nkrumah, or associates of Nkrumah, will learn the lessons from that and build on it. Capitalism has been going for about 600 years.
How is yours different during the PNDC thing? How your capitalism and Pan-African vision, as opposed to Nkrumah? You said
I'm not opposed to Nkrumah.
No, as opposed to, as in terms of in contradiction to that of Nkrumah. How is yours different?
I'm a follower of Nkrumah.
You are a follower of Nkrumah. So you then believe in the ideals of Nkrumah?
Yeah, I believe in the ideals of Nkrumah.
And I'm asking you, is he a dictator?
I'm saying that the issue
Did he suppress people?
I'm saying that the issue of whether Nkrumah suppressed people or not is not within the power of Nkrumah.
You still not answered the question.
No, because you are refusing to answer me. The fact is that Nkrumah has been left an undemocratic structure by colonialism. Okay. Colonialism introduced that structure. Explo. Why is Nkrumah being responsible and not colonialism?
Explo, listen. We're going to take it step by step.
Yes.
My question is, you are a true believer of Nkrumah.
Yes.
Now, what I'm saying is, people believe that he was a dictator. I'm asking you, your own. I'm asking you now, your own belief. Was Nkrumah a dictator to you?
Nkrumah was not a dictator. Nkrumah was forced to work within the colonial system.
So he was not a dictator?
He was not a dictator. He was forced to work within a dictatorial structure which has been led by colonialism.
How was the PNDC, since you said that vision of Rawlings was entirely something different to that of Nkrumah?
I don't know Rawlings' vision.
Okay, but you joined the PNDC.
Yeah. The fact is that our movement was there before he came. So why should they? And the PNDC was a collective body.
You didn't know Rawlings' vision and you joined to work with him?
We were cooperating with him because
what was the vision of the two of you? The two of you.
Who were in existence? I've said it once. Let me repeat it.
Repeat it again.
I said that a movement has developed which loosely was united by 5 points. The first point, I repeat, as I said earlier on, that we're opposed to foreign control and dictatorship in our political, economic, social, cultural, and military relations as a country.
So you then accept that there was your vision. Are you then calling Nkrumah's vision and his ideals dictating?
I have not said that. I refuse to agree that Nkrumah is a dictator. But I'm saying that colonialism is a dictatorial system which was brought and we have to fight. We have not completed. Nkrumah said that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it was linked with the total liberation of the African continent. So we have not had meaningful independence yet. So once we didn't have meaningful independence, Nkrumah could not be responsible for the meaningless independence which colonialism has left.
Why do we blame everything on colonialism?
Oh, why shouldn't we blame?
We are liberated already.
We are not liberated. We are not liberated.
We are not liberated. We were liberated. Americans then joined forces with Africans to overthrow Nkrumah. So why are we
with some Africans?
With some Africans.
Yes, and that is why I said that it was wrong for Rawlings to call Kotoka a hero. That is why I don't consider Kotoka a hero. Kotoka is not American, but exactly. I don't consider Kotoka a hero.
Why couldn't we Africans think right and say, listen,
I said Kotoka is a traitor. Okay. Kotoka is a traitor. Haile is a traitor. Afrifa is a traitor. They were traitors. I'm not saying that. I'm not. So now they colluded. They colluded with the external forces to help them to control dictating as they. So it's a partnership. You see, there's a partnership. We call it metropolis satellite relationship. The metropolis is where it comes from. The satellite is the idiots and traitors in our midst who are selling us out. So it's not the external forces are not acting on their own.
Is Rawlings a traitor?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Yes.
Henry Latte is asking him to explain the Abacha money. Henry Latte is asking him to explain how the wife got in Sawan Canary. Henry Latte wants to know whether it's true that he and his wife owns 15% shares in Ghana Rubber Estate. Henry Latte wants him to explain how Black Star shipping line was sold. Henry Latte said he has written to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. He's not had any reply. And that he's now asking Martin Hamidu to investigate him. A person, until we know the details of this investigation, I consider him a traitor. The other thing is that when there was a split in the PNDC, with him on one side, Chris Atim and Alonga Kataparos on one side, and the original PNDC died on the 28th of October.
What led to the split?
Yes, I'm coming to it. Two documents are there.
Okay.
One is the Dr. Emmanuel Hansen, secretary to the PNDC, has written a book, Ghana Under Rawlings, Early Years.
Right.
The second one, Chris Atim's resignation letter.
Right.
Chris Atim's resignation letter, he complains about Rawlings singling out honest, patriotic, and devoted people and arresting them when it is the same repression and oppression which made them come up with the 31st December coup, which they were thinking would lead to a revolution. He talked about the use of, he said Chikata was using foreign exchange uncontrollably, that he was not accounting to anybody. He said once they have a council of 7 members, he, Rawlings, Kojo Chikata, and BBD Asamoah were creating their own secret court, which was persecuting people. He said the fact is that Rawlings had was trying to divide and rule, trying tribalism.
Were you aware of the coup, the whole coup?
Yeah, which coup?
To overthrow Liman?
No.
You weren't aware?
No, I wasn't aware of the whole coup.
Where were you at the time?
Where was I at the time?
Yeah.
Where was I at the time of the coup?
Yeah.
I was teaching at Kumasi Technical Secondary Institute at the time of the coup.
Your student union movement, it was working in collaboration with the PNDC, right? It was working in conjunction with it. And you had no idea there was something like that?
The student movement was not part of the plotting of the coup. What happened is that there are progressive people, which you are not following me when I talk about the progressive movement. That is a thing. I don't know how old you are, but listen to me a bit. There was the progressive movement. People like Chris Atim, they were in the progressive movement. People like Aloga Katapori, they were in the progressive movement. Since they are colleagues in the progressive movement, when they got involved with Rawlings, our association with them led to our involvement. Not because we were also coup plotters. I was even a member of the People's National Party. I was the youth organizer in West Nine of the People's National Party. My father was CC Fiti's campaign manager, the first majority leader in the country's campaign manager. So people would not even tell me about plotting coup because maybe I can go and tell my father. So it was not about plotting coup. A lot of people do not understand the history of the PNDC, which is where the problem is. My brother Andy, you look a bit confused.
I am not confused.
You are really confused.
I'm not confused.
You are really confused because you are not following this history.
No, I'm following it.
No, because, what I'm trying to I'll say one thing.
When you just mentioned progressive movement, which I've not heard. So that is where my problem is. So now I
called about 6 organizations.
No. But I'm in particular with that of Chris Atim. Adebuga, how did you meet him?
Adebuga? I've never met Adebuga until Ezra.
Okay.
Until we broke jail and we went to Ezra, I met him in Lome. Okay. Before then, I've never met Adebuga.
Okay. So did you carry on working with Rawlings or the PNDC? After the insertion of a Rawlings regime after Liman?
Chris Atim was let me explain again. You are centering things just on Rawlings' person. Chris Atim I've worked with in tech. He became a member of the PNDC. I don't know how he and Rawlings related. Hold on, right. Let me finish. You have asked me a question. And he became the national coordinator of the defense committees. Right. When he became the national coordinator of defense committees, he has worked with me in the student movement, and we have been working in the progressive movement. He appointed me the Volta regional coordinator of defense committees. So I came through Chris Atim into the PNDC structures because I knew him.
You seem to be very loyal to Chris Atim, but he was not the leader of the PNDC.
The fact is that it was a collective body. Okay. You see,
who was the leader then? Who was the leader?
The PNDC was a collective body.
Who was the leader? Who was your chairman?
The chairman of the council. He was chairman of the council. He is not an executive president. You see, when you have Nana Akufo-Addo, he is not a chairman of a council. This is what people don't understand about the PNDC. It is a collective. The PNDC proclamation makes it a collective body. So it's like when the Russians had something you call the ruling presidium. So it's a collective presidium.
You call Rawlings a traitor?
Yes.
What about Chris Atim?
Chris Atim?
Yeah.
I think that Rawlings betrayed what we, the movement... Chris Atim was part of the movement in which he didn't collude with the IMF and the World Bank. He didn't lead the selling of Black Star Shipping Line. He didn't lead to the selling of the factories that Nkrumah has left.
Well,
and then we brought from Rawlings and he did all that.
How are you sure about that?
How am I sure about that?
Yes. Because Rawlings was the leader, yeah?
He was the chairman of the council. You see,
he was still the leader.
He's the chairman of the council.
He was still the leader. You keep saying Chris Atim did not lead. He didn't lead.
I didn't say Chris Atim is the leader of the PNDC. I said you're national coordinator of defense committee.
I'm talking about the selling of these Black Star Line and all those things.
But the fact is that we broke away because when the IMF and the World Bank came in, I was listing the number of things which made us split with him and left him to sell those things. We're not part of the council. We're not working with him when he sold those things.
Chris Atim remained with the
No, you are not aware. Chris Atim resigned. The fact that I'm sure that even because Chris Atim resigned that year, I was arrested. Because Rawlings saw me as Chris Atim's representative in our ranging voter. And I was, in another program, I said that Brigadier Kluche, the brigade commander, said because of me, they cannot control our own region. But this is the divide and rule I was going to explain, which, which you cut me short.
Okay.
For example, when the problem started, I watched Baba Awuni on your program.
Okay.
And Baba Awuni was saying that he got to a stage, he said, it seems it's against accounts and nothingness. Idris Mahama once told Zaya Yebu, the PNDC Secretary for Youth and Sports, that the nothingness should resign. And when the repression was continuing, Zaya Yebu said one day, he asked Idris Mahama, said, Masa, Alaji, this is the time for us to resign. He said, no, Rawlings had explained to him that it's not nothingness he wants, it's socialists that he's chasing out, not nothingness. And that he, Idris Mahama, is not a socialist. So he has now understood that he's not one of the people Rawlings is against.
So you mean Adebuga was wrong to insinuate that he was trying to, you know...
No, I'm not saying that he's wrong. The fact is that he's a nofner. So if he's attacked and he said a nofner has been attacked, he's a nofner. But Idris Mahama said that to Idris Mahama told Zaya Yebu that Rawlings has explained to him that it's not nothingness that he's against. He's against nothing socialists. So if you're a nofner and you're a socialist and he's against you, and he...
Which part of Ghana are you from?
I'm an Ebe, from the Volta region.
But you're a socialist?
Yes.
Do you think Rawlings was after you?
Oh, if he wasn't after me, one, I was in Yebo's house when Rawlings came. He didn't send somebody. He came. He made a number of us to kneel down, cock guns on our nostrils, he himself, on 24th November 1982. He got me locked up in military detention. I'm a civilian. He got me locked up in military detention. If you are not after a person, is that how you treat a person that you are not after?
Did you do anything wrong for your arrest?
I didn't do anything wrong for my arrest. And Rawlings himself is ashamed today that he did that. He would have wished that he could forget. He would have wished that I would not be on TV screens to be saying these things.
So most people who allege that most of these incitings of killings, brutality, was not directly by Rawlings, but by indiscipline in the military. You disagree with that?
The fact is that I don't separate politics and killing.
Okay.
You get it? Okay. I told you before this program started. Yeah. I don't separate politics and killing. The fact is that the people who did not understand politics could do certain things. But were the people on my side? Who were the people who were killing the judges? And those... Chris Atim's letter said that Rawlings should name his heroes. Chris Atim's resignation letter, I don't know whether you have read it. He should name his heroes. And let us see whether they are the ones killing the judges in the night, and the retirement officer, or killing PDC elements in Volta region. He said he should name them. So, killing is not just killing in abstract. Who were killed? What were people killed for? For example, I have made it very clear what I believe in. And even since Rawlings doesn't talk revolution anymore, I'm still a revolutionary. I've lived in this country for several years, and I still act actively in the anti-war movement, in the anti-austerity movement, in the movement around Jeremy Corbyn. So I'm consistent with my beliefs. I believe in something and I'm consistent with it. Rawlings, we can see where he is. Is he still saying that we need to change the system? Is he saying that he wants to lead people to ensure that we don't have the control? He is adjusted to being the father of the Fourth Republic and then complaining about his party being teased when it is precisely because he thinks that we were being too tough on anti-corruption struggle. That's why he has formed that type of party. Let me give you two examples that I'm sure you have never heard. When Chris Atim led a delegation to visit Eastern Europe and Cuba and came back, he had a press conference in Accra and said when they went, those countries looked after them. So all the money that he took there from the government, they were paying it back to chest. Because that is the culture of the vision that we stood for. Again, that time, before we broke away from them, and left them to continue what they have continued to develop into what is now called NDC. Ato Austin went to North Korea, came back, had a press conference, said, look, we went there because they took care of us. With the money that we brought, we took half of it, we are paying it back to government chest. I hope I'll see that happening in Ghana again. I know you have never heard it. You are surprised that it has ever happened in Ghana because you have grown up to believe that the Ghanaian cannot do that. And I know you are genuinely confused. Yes, you are genuinely confused because you don't know this history.
Well, that is why you are here to tell us.
Yes, that is why I'm telling you. That is why you should not be cutting me short. Because I lived through it. I'm not talking hearsay. And if we had Ghanaians who will be paying money back to government chest, and then we have others who, according to Chris Atim's resignation letter, I was not in the inner circle of the council. Chris Atim is saying that I wish you can interview Chris Atim himself one day about it. That foreign exchange was being used in an unaccountable way. Meanwhile, people were paying money back to government chest. If we have built Ghana on the paying back to government chest patriotism, we would have had a different Ghana.
Aside in Southern Canary, the missing gold bars and all those things, what other corruptions were within the PNDC government?
What other corruption?
Yeah, things that...
So those ones are not enough?
No, give us more. Tell us more.
Oh, the fact that my concentration is not merely about corruption. My concentration is about vision. About how, that is why I started my first point. Second point is that the way in which we produce, where the returns of production goes to just a few greedy people, we have to change it in a way in which there's distribution among a greater section of the population so that we can have things like cooperatives and all that. So actually, we will not have majority of our people. Look, if you look at the gap between the rich and the poor, it's pathetic. You have to cry. The other thing is that ordinary people should have a way in which they can control political authorities. So political authorities, when people become political authorities, they think they have become invisible. And that's why they act now in a way that Rawlings said is even worse than those that he killed on June 4th. I didn't say that. He said it on June 4th last year, that what his own party people were doing is worse than the people who the AFRC or PNDC killed. So that is what I'm concerned about, because corruption is a reflection. Corruption, if you create conditions for corruption, corruption would spread like a cancer. So if you say you are chasing corruption, meanwhile the system which is there creates conditions for corruption, you will be like what?
The system remains, whereas
that is why for us socialists, our starting point is the system. That is what confuses you. Our starting point is the system.
So you would believe that it will be best for Ghana to go into prime ministership rather than presidency?
Oh, I'm not saying that.
Would that be better?
It's just the same thing. The fact that if you have the same system, even if you have traditional chiefs ruling and the country is ruled by National House of Chiefs and it's the same system, it won't change.
Okay. The judges, the murder of the three judges and the major, what do you know about it?
What do I know about it? I don't know anything about it apart from what all of us know. There's the SIB report. There's a report, a committee was set up under Azukra to investigate the murder of the judges. The committee came up with this report. So I was not a member of the committee. I've never met any of the judges. I met America in Ezra in Lome, but I didn't ask him any question about the judges. The one who led the killing of the judges, he managed to go away, and the people who he went and took from Garum to go and kill the judges, they have been shot.
So America never spoke to you about?
No, he never spoke to me about the judges, and I didn't ask him. So I don't know anything about the killing of the judges. What I know is what the public knows. I was in detention when the committee was set up. I was in detention when the report came.
Why were you in detention for for that long? I mean, aside the meeting of Rawlings and yourself, where you said he pointed a gun at you, yeah?
Not only me, about 8 or 9 people.
Okay. What is from that moment? Is that when you were taken to detention?
No, I wasn't taken to detention. I normally went back to Volta region as the regional coordinator.
Again for the
I went there because for me, I'm making it clear to you, it's not about following people. And the other thing is that I'm a revolutionary. I believe that revolutionary change will be. So I was trying to make a contribution on the basis of my convictions. And also I've said it on other programs, that in class society where there's class conflict, those who take the side of social change are likely to die or anything can happen. So the fact is that I know that what I was doing can lead to my death. It's a road I chose. The things that happened to me have not happened to me by accident. I told you when we started this program that my politics didn't start with the PNDC. In 1975, when I was even in secondary school, in my school, Morley School, we had mock parliament. And during mock parliament, we were made to organize political parties and then we'll have elections in the school. And when I was in Morley School in 1975, I set up a group called Morley Revolutionary Movement, Marebo. And during the mock parliament, a friend of mine, Kosi Agbe, set a group called Morley Socialist Alliance, MASWA. And so right from that stage, we already believed in these things. In 1975, when I was in Morley Secondary School, I've never heard of Rawlings' name. So the fact is that for me, any opportunity that I get, whether it's in a CPP or PPP, anywhere, I will continue to advance my revolutionary position. It's just like Tony Blair was here, but Jeremy Corbyn believes in his position. He didn't leave the Labour Party. Many times he voted against what Tony Blair stood for.
Is there anything good Rawlings did in your own view?
Oh, there isn't any human being who will not do something good. But
tell us some of the things.
No. That is not my angle. The fact that you want to change the discourse. I am not a politician who doesn't have say. I'm an active political activist. So my work in politics is to convince people about what I believe in and not come and be listing things about people. My work is to convince people. That is why several times I'm trying to repeat what I stand for. That's my main work. I have to, and that is why I welcome multi-party rule, because all of us can explain our positions. Rawlings can also explain his position. It's not for me to go and explain. I don't know when anybody has asked Rawlings.
No, but you are against some of the things he's done.
The fact is that we tried to work together and it didn't work. So it is not, I've made it clear, I've said it more than a million times, that I'm not against a particular person. I stand for certain things. And if I try to work with you, like I've come into this studio, if we are working together, I believe in certain things. For example, if I'm a Muslim and I go somewhere and all the people there are Christians, and I see that it won't work, then I have to change to be a Christian or what? Or I have to force them to, no, I'll go my way to be a Muslim. You get it? It's the same as politics. I think that it's become very difficult for you to understand.
Anyway, join us after the break, we speak more.
Maintaining a presence at the forefront of a global issue with the desire to help others come to a resolve in personal and business affairs is why Andy D Legal and Immigration Associate was established.
We specialize in overseas British passport applications, bails and temporary admission, deportation and detention cases.
The profound pattern in achieving positive results with fragile cases in immigration, nationality, European Union and human rights law, adoption, marriage, divorce, litigation and so on, up to date, has been broken, and that is why our client base continues to expand.
We also do representations at the UK border agencies and overseas consulate, human rights law, and settlement and leave to remain applications.
We have the right keys to unlock any case across the spectrum of law, locally in London and across the borders in Ghana, where our other branches are established.
We are located at 44 Broadway, Stratford, E15 1XH. Our telephone number is 0203 1300 751. Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about disparities and differences Mr. Nani Kofi had with the PNDC. But now we are going to move.
You see, I'll be forced again to say something.
Okay.
I didn't have difference with the PNDC. The PNDC was divided into two, and I was in one part.
Okay. All right. So you, in a way, you were still part of it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
you liked one ideology of the PNDC. You didn't like the other. Okay.
I won't comment.
Okay. As a civilian during that time, Rawlings has now taken over from Lehman. What was the stand to a civilian person living in Ghana? What was the situation?
You see, the situation under Lehman somehow forced the coup. But I will not say that because it's Lehman's fault. When we had the AFRC, the AFRC declared control prices, sold all what was in the shop before it came, and the shops were empty.
Right.
You see, the other thing is that I was a young man then, but now I'm an older person. So I look at things also with hindsight. When Rawlings handed over to Lehman first,
okay,
the FRC didn't order anything, import anything to refill the shops that it has emptied.
Okay.
So Lehman had one of the most difficult, maybe the most difficult civilian presidency in Ghana, because it's not military rule that you can command things anytime you want.
Right.
His majority in parliament was even narrow.
Yeah.
That's why even one time he lost the budget and they had to vote again on the budget.
Okay.
So things were very difficult. And because of the way things were very difficult, people had an euphoria for the AFRC days. For most people, most young people, maybe even including me, for most young people, they remembered the control price things they bought. It did not occur to them that the shops have become empty. But they were happy that they were able to buy things cheaply.
Okay.
So they had an euphoria for whoever was in charge when the control price things were being sold. But when we come to the real world, but when the PNDC took over, then they saw the real world. The real world is that if things, the shops are empty, you have to find a way in which you have to import things.
Okay.
You have to find a way in which you have to look for money.
All right.
And those things led to part of the issue of how to approach IMF and the World Bank. Am I to be on course now?
Well,
okay. So that was how the situation is. And because of the fact that the situation was beyond the control of Lehman. And the situation, unless Lehman wanted to declare emergency rule, which I hear some of his party members were telling him that he should declare a state of emergency.
Okay.
Because there was no way normal civilian constitution order was able to handle the thing. So things collapsed so much that anybody who attempted a coup could have succeeded, because it was enough to say, oh, during the FRC days, you see how things were cheap? And many ordinary people, they will remember when they bought cheap things. They are not going to sit there and say, is it true that the shops are empty or so? If Lehman is saying that the shops are empty, is it true? People are not going to look at that. People are only going to remember when I had money in my pocket and I was able to buy something for myself.
Okay. Embedment on Ghana, and probably those who had been privileged to have purchased items at a lower rate. When Rawlings took over, what was the current situation? Oh,
when Rawlings took over, many people were happy in the beginning. There were demonstrations, and people would say, oh, control will be back, control will be back.
Right.
But that is the illusion of young people and other people who bought things. The fact that we have gone back to constitutional rule, where we came from, meant that maybe if we had all contributed to assist in developing constitutional rule, it might have been better. But had I known, it's always after the event. Yes.
When Rawlings came to power with his PNDC government, which you supported one aspect of it, the other part with Rawlings, which is the other section, And I learned there were a lot of brutality, indiscipline within society. What's your take on that? What's the general concept of discipline across board?
You see,
with military as well as civilians.
Some people don't understand the word revolution.
Okay.
Some people think that revolution means violence.
Right.
Some people think that revolution means military force. Revolution does not necessarily mean that. Revolution means a change in the system, a deep change in the system, so that the character of the system will change and then things will happen differently from how they happened in the past. But because some people thought that revolution means violence or revolution means military involvement, some military people were going about doing things on their own. Like I explained that in my own region, we had a PDC coordinating secretariat. But people like soldiers like a military policeman like Jack Beble, soldiers like Matthias Cujo, they'll just come, they'll go into any town, they'll gather people and say they're organizing a rally or they're doing this thing or that. And so they can come in and then they can say, you have done this, so they can catch the person and whip him or do anything. So those things were happening. And it's unfortunate that such incidents happened. And it happened, and so even people didn't feel safe. For example, I was in the government residency as a regional coordinator with the Deputy Regional Secretary, Kwesi Kamasa in Ho. And anytime Bomede Kujo and Co came, we felt that we should go and sleep somewhere else because maybe in the morning you find out there's a dead body bent on the Sokode Road, Akapovi, or you find that Ankra's body has been bent somewhere. And since we don't know how they relate with us, if they are burning people, it means we could also be burnt. So those things did happen. Those things did happen. But the fact that it means that we need a deeper education in our society about what revolution means. So if we don't have a deeper education in our society and people have these wrong ideas about revolution, then those things will be happening. Those type of killings will be happening. Because those people also think that that is revolution.
At what point were you arrested?
Oh, I was arrested on the 7th of December 1981. But the point at which I was arrested was the point at which the PNDC had split into two.
Okay.
And I said, this process made me to learn how politics can be turned into ethnic. Because I think one of the main reasons why I was arrested is that although I'm an Ebe, it appeared that because I went to school with Chris Atim, and Chris Atim has fallen out with Rawlings, it appeared that the suspicion is that I will follow my schoolmate's line. So if he has fallen out and he's out, then we have to remove this guy. Because the very day I went I was taken. Let me explain how I was arrested even in the first place. Okay. Very cowardly, actually. Even after all what happened, that's why Rawlings had made me kneel down, gunpoint and all that, I didn't resign from the government. I thought that there are differences that we can continue working. So I went back to home. The day that Rawlings made us kneel down, he came by with a helicopter. But one day, I normally walk from the residency to the regional administration. I normally don't go by car. And when I'm coming, there are workers all over the place. I usually walk. So when I got there was a helicopter had come down. And then there were the workers crowded there. They went and asked the helicopter people, well, what have you come to do there? They said they've come with the military academy training school results. Okay. Then I saw the army commander, the commanding officer of the barracks, the assistant commissioner of police, and the border guard commander. They came to the regional administration, then they were looking for the regional secretary. The regional secretary was nowhere to be found. The deputy regional secretary was there. They were not prepared to talk to him. It looked strange. I didn't know why. Then I was told by the Armed Forces Defense Committee chairman, Dola Mahmoud, that the commanding officer wanted me. I smelled a rat. So I told that he should go and tell him that I'm not in the town. I'm in Sogakope. So, and then he went and told him. So after that, the helicopter left. And after the helicopter left, I went to see the Deputy Regional Secretary, Kwesi Kamasa, and said, oh, this is the way the commanding officer said he wants me. And then he said, oh, phone him and ask him why he wants you. So I phoned him and asked, why do you want me? He said, oh, I just want you for a meeting. He didn't say, oh, we are going to arrest you. He said, I want you for a meeting. And in fact, it looked normal to me because I'm a member of Regional Security Council. Commanding officer is also a member of Regional Security Council. So if my colleague, a member of Regional Security Council, said, oh, we need a meeting, and the regional secretary is not around, I thought that maybe he meant it. So I told him to send me a car, even more naive. The civilian with that gun telling soldier to send you a car and take you into their barracks. So I went there, sat down in the office. Then I started hearing some command. Soldiers marching, blah, 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 interview, sure. I don't know what it means if you ask me. Then they came. So I saw that it was the Armed Forces Defense Committee members. And since I'm the regional coordinator of the defense committees, I thought maybe they have done something wrong. And they have brought me to come and listen to what they have done. Then immediately I was told that the army commander said I should be brought to Accra. And I said, oh, my colleague, commanding officer, we are both members of Regional Security Council. Why do you trick me this way? You told me that we have a meeting. I've come here. One, I'm not a soldier, so I'm not under the army commander. Secondly, I'm also an official of this government. So it's wrong for the army commander to just command me that way. Because soldiers are the people under him. Yeah. We are all jointly under the PNDC. But soldiers are under him. I'm not a soldier. Yeah. So there's one WO, Kwan Poku says, shut up! When you get to the army, you understand what is happening. And that was how I was taken by armed guard to Accra. So I consider it a kidnap. They tricked me into their barracks. They have guns, I don't have guns. And I haven't entered their midst in the barracks. Then they said I'm wanted by their commander. I'm not even a soldier. Then under armed guard, I'm taken to Accra. So I always call it an abduction. And I also say it's cowardly. Because if you want to arrest a person, openly tell the person I want to arrest you. Don't trick the person, come for a meeting, and when the person comes to a meeting, you know he's a civilian, he doesn't have guns, he's in your barracks, you have guns around yourself, then you say, oh, army commander says you should come. Why can't you tell me on the phone the army commander says I should come?
How long were you detained for?
I was in detention for 6 months. But the funny thing about my detention is that guard rooms are for people to be there temporary or for soldiers. Civilians are not kept long in guard rooms. I was in the guard room. First, the impression was that we were coup plotters. All the coup plotters, they were taken to prisons and all that. All the coups which happened to had been tried. I was not a witness in any. I was not an accused in any. I was not even being interrogated about any coup. I remember the brigade commander told people that I'll be transferred to the prisons because I'm a coup suspect. Then I remained there for 6 months when all the people who came there, who were accused or witnesses, they were all transferred to the prisons, then to their trials and all that. I remained there. I remained there. Other members of my secretariat who were arrested with me were released, and I was still there. In fact, some of the soldiers who beat me the first time I came there, they regretted when they saw that I was there after 6 months and I was not going anywhere. They regretted and said, oh, we are very sorry. Because if I was a suspect or I was involved in any coup plot and all the coups have been tried, what am I still doing in the guard room here? On top of a civilian. What am I still doing there? So, abduction, kidnap.
How were you then released from there?
Oh, how was I released? In fact, I left through the June 19th. The first that, because it was a division in the government, people who were being arrested, people like myself, Adabuga and Co, we were all part of the PNDC. Some of the people like Baba Kankani, Umar Farouk and Co, they escaped arrest and went to Togo and were in exile. So they were also constantly in contact with people, those of us in the detention.
Right.
In fact, they were in contact through various people. In fact, well, I'm surprised people come on this program, they don't mention some of these people. There's a young man in this town, Malco Gidiglo. He should be seen as the hero of June 19th. Because this young civilian was the one linking up between people like Baba Kankani and Co. and the people in the prisons. There is also Baba's wife, who was a prison officer, Mary Ayambila, and was there helped to infiltrate the prison officer corps so that information and whatever was going into the prison very easily. And so I have always been saying that the jailbreak started even earlier than June 19th. Because on 1st May, and that thing even assisted my jailbreak. So that's why when you ask my question, I'm linking it. On 1st May, Ransford Fitty, who now lives in London, he had been shot during the time that he was suspected as a coup plotter. He's been shot and left for dead. And one day broke, he was in a pool of blood, not dead. And he was taken to 37 military hospital where he was being kept. In fact, one Lieutenant Colonel Apalu, several times tried to release him to Insawan so he could go and die there. Because Apalu told him that as an Anglo man, you should have known better and not be involved in things like this. Mm-hmm. And on 1st May, he escaped from 37 military hospital and vanished. So they said, oh, this man who was shot and left for dead has been able to escape. Then everybody wants like Nimo, Aninakwa, and Co cannot be here. Mm-hmm. And so Nimo was brought to Field Engineers Garum where I was being locked. And in course of my program, I'm going to explain how this worked to my advantage. Because Nimo now was brought, he was also in 37 military hospital. He was brought that if Fiti was weaker, had escaped, then all of them will escape. And Aninakwa was taken to Unsawan prison. So there, Nimo and myself became colleagues in detention. I used to give the soldiers political education, give them revolutionary literature to read. There. So we built a special relationship. So when the day of June 19th occurred, and Tekpo, first, I heard that 6 soldiers were able to reach Accra from Lume. Baba Kankani, who Umar Farouk said on Facebook that is the initiator, Umar Farouk, Nso, Tanti, Malik, and Ochri. I heard they were the people who got into Accra. And in link with Malco Gidiglo, Mary Ayambila, they managed to get into the prison people, and the jailbreak started. So when they broke Jamesford and Asherford, the people from there started coming to other prisons. So for example, I was in the barracks in Teshin, Field Engineers Garum. Okay. So Tekpo, Hiantope, and Alassane. Mm-hmm. Alassane was a soldier from Field Engineers Garum, working the adjutant's office, who was arrested and locked up for a coup plot. Mm-hmm. So on June 19th, he knew Field Engineers Garum very well. So he led Field Engineers Barracks very well. So regiment very well. So he led the people there. So when they came, they overpowered the guards. It was drizzling too. They overpowered them, made them lie in the drizzling water. And then they came and forced the door open. Then they told us that they were releasing only soldiers. So the civilians should be locked up. Then Nimo, that's why I said Nimo's coming there was an advantage for me. Nimo said that in this Garum, there's no difference between civilians and soldiers. So once they are releasing soldiers, they will release civilians too. Because Nimo understood that regime saw me in the category of the soldiers. So if the soldiers escape and then things go bad, and I'm there with the others, they'll come and pick me in the midst of other civilians and do whatever they want to do to me. I would have been a ghost by now. Mm-hmm. So Nimo insisted, and through Nimo's insistence, they allowed we the civilians to go. And I would always talk about Nimo as the person who has contributed a lot to my being alive. Because if he didn't say that, we should also be allowed. And after the jailbreak, the soldiers ran away, and I was there, and the PNDC sees me in the same category as them, because those people came as petty thieves or did something in town. They are not in the same category. I'm a civilian, but I'm in the category of the soldiers as a person who is seen to be a coup suspect. Yeah. So Nimo insisted, and that led to our escaping together. So first, the soldiers took their own routes with their guns, and we, the civilians, were running. So immediately I ran as fast, or faster than anybody, because I knew that I needed my freedom. And I knew that if things go bad, I'll be a ghost. So I ran very fast, and then I got to Teshin, about the side of the firing squad. All of a sudden, I heard a cab horn, beep, 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 beep. Then, oh, this was Nimo. He said he had hijacked the car, and that immediately he decided that he would take me to wherever I can go, because of the way we are related, the respect that he gave me. He would take me to wherever I want to go before he would go back and join his friends. So we went to a place called Libya House, where we went and met some people there. We talked to them. We went to Dr. Babio's clinic, and the helicopter was following us all day. Dr. Babio, who later became a PNDC secretary, that day he siphoned fuel into Nimo's car for us on the June 19th. Head or tail. These are Ghanaian people, they enjoy it. So if June 19th becomes something, Dr. Babio is there. It didn't become something, he went to be the founder of NDC in my constituency. So he will even tell us, oh, he's watching you, the helicopter is watching you. Then Nimo will fire a gun, bah, towards the helicopter will move away. And then
it's like an action movie, isn't it?
It's like an action movie. And then what is the whole June 19th is like an action movie, because those days there were no mobile phones. But this June 19th thing took place on a scale which can only be comparable with the 24th February 1966 coup. Because it happened in Tema, Teshin, Accra Central, Nsawam. And it was a military regime. It was if a civilian regime, we will not be so surprised. But a military regime with all its arsenals, with all Kojochi Kata's intelligence structure, and people sneak into the country, link up with detainees who are locked up in detention, and they manage to break jail starting from James Fort and Asha Fort in Accra Central, come all the way to Teshin, to Military Academy Training School, to Field Engineers Garum, break in Tema Naval Base, and go all the way from Accra to Nsawam, to go and break in Nsawam too. Even now that there's mobile phone, if it happens, you will still be. But there were no mobile phones. But this was coordinated, and then took over broadcasting for part of the time. So if you say it's like a movie, it was really like a movie. And so later, when I went to Nimo, after Dr. Babio gave us fuel, we took the fuel to go and see what was happening in Gonda Barracks. And then when we reached Gonda Barracks, we saw one officer, Hundepo, there. Then we said, hey, the Rawlings people are back on the ground. So we reversed very fast. And we went, and he went and dumped the car, the hijacked car, because now the only thing we can do is to run. So we found some place to stay that night. And the following day, Nimo and I, we parted with, if two of us are together, you know, that time they were looking for people. So if two of you are together, just like Aduma Kunyamite was telling about him and Ata Kwame, if two of you are together, it's dangerous, because if you die together, nobody will be there to tell the story. Now, for example, Nimo is dead, but I'm alive to tell the story. You see? So, a relative took me to Kimbu. I took a vehicle from Kimbu, heading to Bong. When we got to Teshin, a lot of vehicle parks. That time, everywhere, the roadblocks all over the country. There are vehicles parked there. I said, what? I'm in trouble, because I was in Field Engineers Garum. The soldiers there are from Field Engineers Garum. So if I pass the roadblock, they automatically say, oh, you are the one who escaped from our room. And also, the announcement was being made by Rawlings every now and again that anybody who sees those of us running away should just shoot us without question. The dissidents are like, yes! Go and find out. You can interview, bring Rawlings inside, ask him one day. There was an announcement was being made. If you are in your hideout, you'll be hearing that anybody who sees the dissidents, the rebels, they should be shot on sight. And I said, gosh, if I reach there, they'll just shoot me on sight. So I quietly paid the driver's mate the full amount to Pong. Then I got down quietly. Maybe some people would think that because of the queue, maybe I want to walk, you see, a bit and see whether I can get. So gradually I went into the bush of the road. Then immediately I started running as fast as possible because you don't know, somebody can say, this man, maybe he's one of them, he's afraid of the barrier, that's why he's dropping. So I don't know whether anybody followed me, but if you're running for your life, you can break the world record. So I ran and ran and ran. Sometimes I'll come back into town, right from Teshin. I didn't even know that geography that area very well. I ran and ran and ran and ran, sometimes walking, until I got to Ashaima. I took another vehicle, which was going to Pong. Immediately I got to 1BN, Teshimisha camp, the roadblock again. I said, God. I'll continue reciting Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restored. So unless I was sleeping, I was reciting throughout. And one of the soldiers, Ajay Kwapon, he left his New Testament with me. So I always held it in my hand this way before crossing the barrier. When I reached the barrier, there were two soldiers there who knew me. One called Sego. If he listening to this program, he will hear it. When I read there, he was looking away. I said, gosh, Psalm 23 is working. The other one, Habada, who is friendly to me, he was the one who was at the roadblock. So he pretended as if he didn't see me. So I walked through, still reciting. And I got to Pong. I took a vehicle which was going to a place called Chate, because I have a relative there. I wanted to go and hide there because it's a bit removed from the other towns, a bit isolated. I wanted to go and hide there. So normally we don't have roadblocks at Asikuma because it's like a neutral zone between Eastern and Volta. So the soldiers normally don't, whenever anything happens. So I was naively calculating that there will be no soldiers there. Mm-hmm. When I got there, wow! Soldiers were there. Mm-hmm. And some of these things, when I say you think that I'm fabricating it, the large number of soldiers there, they were all just conversing, not looking in my direction. So there were only two at the gate. One, I used to have a long beard, but that day I removed the beard. I used to have Afromosis. That day I was not in my Afromosis. I never barbed. That day I cut my hair. So I had changed a bit. So the dangerous man who might have picked me, he didn't recognize me. The other man started like this, so I know, gosh, he has recognized the man. But I just cooled and walked. So when I joined the vehicle, another soldier, he came. He saw me, he said, hey, Explo. I said, hey. They said, oh, bye-bye. Then he left. And now that I've come and I've met him, he always tells me, he said, hey, Explo, so if I had arrested you that day, you would have been a ghost by now. I said, when I'm seeing you now, I always think you are a ghost. I told myself that day, it's not through me that Explo will die.
How did you manage to get to be loved by all these people? Because at this point, you've been, rescued by two.
Oh, yes, but that is what I've been saying on other programs, that because, although you don't believe the things I said, that I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. When I was arrested, immediately I was arrested, the workers in Ho I was even told by some people when I met them, the workers in Ho assembled and sent a delegation to Accra about why I was arrested. The delegation was led by the person who was then head of administration in the secretariat, Julius Jamefe. Now he's Air Commodore Jamefe in charge of procurement in the Ghana Armed Forces.
Okay.
Yes. He led a delegation with people like Yusuf Alpha, people like Agbefu Evans. The workers sent delegation to Accra. The other thing is that the brigade commander who thought he was in charge of my arrest, when he went to his own soldiers in Ho to address a Deba, the soldiers confronted him. I heard it was led by one bombardier of him. It's unfortunate he's died before I went back to Ghana, so I didn't see him to congratulate him. He told the brigade commander he should go and release that man who he had locked up in Accra. So when the brigade commander came, he came and called me and said, look, I should stop telling people that he has arrested me. It's Rawlings who I work with who doesn't want to see me again. He just took instructions. So one of the reasons why I'm alive is because of the way in which these people love me. Because the same people who even arrested some people to be killed were the same people who were showing me the route and helping me to escape. Because I was the PDC coordinator. The fact is that many people thought that Kwesi Kamasa, the deputy regional secretary, myself, people thought that maybe we were even the revolution. So when Rawlings arrested me, a lot of people were very angry. And so both civilians and soldiers, as I'm calling them, assisted me. And as I'm saying, that's why I'm calling people's names, so that people can even ask them. Douglas Chikata Yensu, the soldier who came to me and said, look, bye-bye. And when I was in my hideout in Hokwe, I heard that he had been arrested. So I came by asking what happened. He said when he saw me, he decided to walk away from there because if somebody saw that he saw me and didn't arrest me, he'll be shot. So what he decided to do was that if he walked away from post and they come and accuse him that he went away without leave, that means he vacated his post without permission, it was better for him. So he was arrested for vacating his place without permission and he was locked. And I heard that, oh, he's been locked. I said, hey, this man saw me today, or maybe somebody heard that he saw me and didn't arrest me, that's why he has been locked. So he said, no, he rather left the place and was arrested for leaving the place because he told himself. He said it to me anyway. He said, hey, Explo, that when he sees me, if he had arrested me, I would have become a ghost by now. So when he sees me like this, he thinks he's seeing a ghost. He told himself it's not through him that Explo thing died. So even I came back, he came to talk to my father before my father died. I said, look, your son, we love him so much. And now he and myself, we have a name. I call him Doggy My Savior because he was the last man who could have made me a ghost.
Yeah, okay.
So these are some of the things. So when I went into the Volta region, there was one time I was even hiding in a unit PDC chairman's house. And there were resources that PDC had, they were using in feeding a jailbreaker like me. The PDC was helping me, a jailbreaker like me. Because I was their coordinator. I was the one who formed the PDC. I was the one who introduced the PDCs into the Volta region. So the people knew that, why this man? This man and Kamasa, they decide not to be interested in money. In fact, when I was arrested, my father and mother went to see the brigade commander. And asked him, why, our son? Why? He said, look, your son is a big fool. Mama, if your son has begun this post and he has any sense, will you be struggling with going to Togo and coming up and down? Big fool because he doesn't know how to steal. If I was stealing, I was the first regional coordinator.
You could have
if I wanted to be like them and I didn't want to criticize and all that, maybe I could be one of the leaders of the PNDC, the NDC. Maybe I might even be the richest civilian in central part of Volta region because it had a military clout around it. If you want to be powerful and you want to use it, it was very easy. But I rather decided to be talking. You see, that's why I'm a bit bad. I like talking about what I believe in. So sometimes I can even spoil programs like I was spoiling this one in the beginning. Because I believe in the things I believe in more than I need to take advantage of situation to make money. You get it? So it is precisely because of that. Even there's a guy who came to, when I serialized my program on journeys, one of the guys who had been attacking me just because I am not with Rawlings, he came, he read the program, he said, "Oh, Explo, I love you." I said, that's why I find that sometimes I'll not say the things you like. Then he say, "Love crowns all." You get it? Because it is difficult to find fault to be. I'm not taking anybody's thing. I believe in certain things. You can say I'm an idealist. Like somebody once told me that I think I can eat principles. Yes, but the fact that a human being should believe in something. That is the very reason when I came into this country, I was a friend of people like Jeremy Corbyn, Tony Benn, and co. Because you have to believe in something. How can a human being be there and say, oh, you know, there's an Australian biologist who said that, you see, human being must be different from other mammals. And that even other mammals, they all look for homes for their children, whether it's a nest, or even the birds, they have nests, and all. Animals, they dig holes, they go in there and all that. They manage to set nuts and things for their children. So if you're a human being, and all what you can also do is have a sleeping place, eat, clothe yourself, then you have not gone beyond the mammal stage yet. But what makes you social is that you have some vision in addition to being able to do these physical things that all animals are also doing. You get it? That is why vision is important. That is why principle is important. And that is why the people love me. And that's why I found that so that I was no longer a part of the system, they who were still Rawlings were helping me with any help that they could go, both soldiers and civilians.
Well, so now you've managed to escape. How did you actually escape from Ghana? Oh,
I spent 11 days. First, immediately I got to Kohwe, after I crossed the roadblock and all that.
Right.
I didn't have to do anything physically anymore. The people were coordinating all these things. So they tried for us to cross through one border point. We failed. And in fact, that day we would have nearly been caught. But just by chance, that's why I say, the Almighty. We just got there, we were not comfortable, so we decided to go. But when we were going, one person who took us there had a cottage. So we brushed into the bush to spend time in his cottage and rest there. I heard that the border guards went all the way to Hohoe looking for us. And they didn't find us. But because we had gone into the bush and they were in the cottage there. So we hid in that cottage until it was dark. And we went back to Hohoe. So when we went back, I changed my hiding place. So I now moved to another hiding place. That one was even risky because that one was in front of the barrier. And I had to wake up in the night, cross in front of the barrier because the bathroom was at the other side of the road. And people were all doing that. So I was taking that risk. Then my person I was minder, the one I was hiding with, he went to the PND district secretary. And he went, "Oh, have you heard of Explo?" He said, "Oh, I don't know whether he was tricking him, but it made him rather to come back helping me more." He told him that, "Oh, Explo, we heard he has been released. Have you heard of him? We are looking for him, so maybe we can sit there and have a drink." So, but he didn't say, "Oh, he's in my room." He said, "Oh, I haven't heard of him. I'm just asking if you have heard of him." So, no, if you heard of him somewhere, tell him to come, let's have a drink. So, my host, he was one of the operatives. So he told the district secretary that, "You give me a note and one other of our cadres so that we can go." We heard that some of the dissidents have been passing Ayoma side so that we can go and chase them. So he got this note and said, John Lee and one other operative should be permitted. So anytime we get to the roadblock, John Lee will present this note signed by the district secretary, and then he and one other operative will be allowed to cross.
Okay.
The district secretary didn't know this until when he came to my father's burial. So I told him that, "You know the trick I played on you during June 19th? I made you to sign a letter for me to be carrying around to run away." He was so embarrassed. He was so embarrassed. And then we didn't succeed with that one. I came back. Then, because I was using the system all along, because I didn't know, it was about 10 or 9 days, I didn't know what to do anymore. I've changed my location again to one PDC, the PDC chairman's place now. So nobody will come there, suspect the PDC chairman will be housing a dissident. So I made, because I was the coordinator, I made the people, the former coordinator there, to invite the Jessica Secretariat people. So he told our boss is here, we're locking here, we don't know how to make him run. And they told him that, oh, you see, we cannot take him with the district as a district administration vehicle. As for that one, it's impossible. But if he gets his own way into Jessica, we'll get him across. So, in the evening, the vehicles were coming. I came with my hosts. They stood far away from me because if they were seen with me, they'd be in trouble. If I'm caught alone, Then I joined a vehicle, the government state transport. That driver comes from my hometown. He also went and told people that the way he saw me and pretended not to know me because he didn't want one day to say, they would say, hey, you took him. So he made us say he didn't know me at all. I also made us say I didn't know him at all. We got to Jessica, it was a curfew time I dropped. And because I've been a coordinator, I knew where the district residency was. So I just went straight to the district coordinator's place. I was there when they came back. We discussed how I went, and they said, 2 people were detailed to take me, that we're going to go at 3 a.m. When we go, I told them that I want to tell them one thing, honestly. If we are going and we meet the soldiers and they shout anywhere, I was not going to stop. I'll run for them to shoot me, and I was not going to be picked up alive. I prefer to die. But nobody will pick me and send me to Accra before killing me. I prefer to die running. So it looked very dangerous for the people who were taking me. So when we reached the hill of the mountains, one of them just ran away. Because the condition I've given was just too tough. So it was level 1. But the man who ran away, he died before I came. The man who took me across, he is still alive today. You get it?
It's magical.
He's still alive. And I told you that even when they sent people to go and arrest him, they found the books that I have sent into the country with him. But because the Rawlings thing was so confusing, they couldn't know that, and that's another reason maybe what they love me. Because for them, they feel that the things I'm saying is what the PNDC is about. You get it? So when they saw my books there, they thought, oh, these are the things for the revolution. They told him, oh, if you have these books, then you cannot be a counter-revolutionary. So they took the handcuff away. Meanwhile, it is the evidence that they were seeing there. With the Rawlings, how are you in Ghana? How did you get these abroad books from? You get, but then they start picking, oh, we also go and read so we can understand revolution. So that's the kind of confusion that was there. So he led me across the boundary into Togo. So after 10 days, I entered Togo. I didn't know anywhere. I stayed in Togo. Oh, the problems in Togo. I didn't know that people were monitoring me every day.
Even in Togo? In
Togo, because I was in Parliament, not knowing the people come from Kweje to the Parliament market. Just to be watching who has talked with me, who have I given a letter. And one time I sent letters, and by the time the person got to the border, I don't know how they took the letters from them. Because the person who took the letter from me was never arrested. But the 3 people the letters have been addressed to were arrested. And anybody whose name has been mentioned in the letter was also arrested. The letter didn't get to the people. Because Stephen Glana, Sami Osoy, who is dead, and Emmanuel Akpese, who is dead, the letters were addressed to. They were arrested. Like, for example, there's Lucas Kumi, who is alive. They are asked in a letter, how is Lucas? What is he doing now? For asking how is he, what is he doing now, he was arrested and taken to BNI. So they arrested about 7 people from PJ because of the letters.
I see.
And like my friend Glana, he said when the BNI board, Nafuri asked him that if I can prove to you that you have a letter from Explo, he said maybe you have it, but I don't have it because I didn't receive any letter. So if you prove that you have a letter, it means Explo has written a letter, but the letter never came to me. But I'm being arrested, the letter is addressed to me, which I've never seen and I've never read. That wasn't bad enough. One guy who was also in detention just like me, but was released after we broke the jail before they released them. Later they released our colleagues in detention, Akatapori, Kwekubako, Kwestiagle, Tata Fosu, Nicholas Atampugri, they were released. So when they released this guy, he came to visit me in Parliament. When I was seeing him off at Parliament Station, people went and said that they saw us loading guns into a vehicle to come to the camp. I don't even know how to fire a pistol. By the time this guy got to his hometown, Lolobi, armed guard were waiting in his house, waiting for him. Armed soldiers waiting for him. They were searching for arms. His father, mother, everybody was searched. They didn't get any arms. They blindfolded him. They took him in the armor car all the way to Accra. And then they took him to a fire school as if they were going to fire him. They fired the guns. He thought that he's been fired. He collapsed. He collapsed. He collapsed. When he woke up, I cannot say what happened to him on air. Things were just bad. When he woke up, you get it. Things were just bad. And so that was what was happening even when I was in Lome.
Wow.
That was what was happening.
Wow.
But so after, in 1984, before the PNDC, I actually had a scholarship to study outside.
Okay.
I thought I was a patriotic Ghanaian. Okay. I decided I didn't want to come to Abrochiri. I want to make revolution. Okay. And now, the revolution achieved me. And then I had to write to the scholarship authority that I beg. The scholarship which I refused to use, I was appealing to them to reissue it. Fortunately, they reissued the scholarship. So 4th October 1984, I went to Czechoslovakia. Okay. But that meant that I missed death again. Because my classmate, Molly Dragoka, I don't know whether you've heard of him, he was still in University of Buckingham. Then he had come to holidays in Lome. His brothers were in Ezra, he had come to holidays. Then he told me that we have to visit Ghana to go and take stock of the national situation. By the time that he went, by the time that we would have gone, I had gone to Czechoslovakia. In Czechoslovakia, I heard that, oh, my friend has gone to Ghana and he has been arrested as a coup plotter. We were together with another friend of mine, Tremejai, and they were all my friends. So I would have also gone. And if I had gone, I would have been a ghost because they are ghosts now. Oh. And then they were put before a public tribunal and they were sentenced to death and they were executed. So going to Czechoslovakia means I dodge again. You see? So that was the general situation. But the fact is that, as I've been saying, for me, these things have happened. But how do we go forward? Right. You get it? How do we go forward? We've had June 19th. We have these killings. But the way to go forward is how do we achieve those principles that we believe in society? You get it? So when Ivan came and I was in this country, I went very close to people like Jeremy because I see that we believe in the same thing. I joined an organization called Counterfire. We organized for 5 good years, I was on the Stop the War Coalition, the group which organized 2 million people to march and oppose the Iraq war and all that. I was a member of the National State Committee in UK for 5 years because there are things that I believe in. So when I come into this country, I was the National Secretary for a group called African United Action Front, the Pan-African umbrella in this country, for several years, from I think from maybe 2000 to about 2008 or something like that. From about 1998 to about 2008.
Wow.
So these are things I believe. So when you believe in things, you have to organize in a way. Because I'm really convinced that the way in which Africa is, if we do not unite, it seems even now everybody is understanding, because even the heads of state, they've come together to set up African Union and all that. So nobody is now debating that unity is not important. Maybe the only question that we are going to look at is how would that unity be done? You get it? Yes.
Wow. That is a very interesting escape you've had.
Yeah.
And magical. I think it's...
Yeah, but the fact is that, as I say, I knew that if you take the path that I've taken, it can lead to death. Or the other. Yeah, it will lead to death. It will lead to all these things. Because you are threatening, you are endangering the interests of the powerful forces.
Okay.
Internally and externally.
Yeah.
They will also not sit down for you to endanger their interests.
Okay. Yeah. So at the moment, any political party that probably shares your vision?
Oh, as you can see on your own screen, I'm the co-chairman in the whole of Ghana. The people who are following Nkrumah have divided into various groups, the PNC, PPP, CPP, GCPP, all that. I talked about how the GCPP leader is asking Rawlings certain questions. But in my constituency, South-Dine, the only constituency out of the 275 constituencies in the country, we have brought all the pro-Nkrumah group, PPP, CPP, together as one. And I'm co-chairman in the constituency CPP, PPP. And we have performed very well in 2 elections, and we are the greatest threat to the NDC in the constituency. So in the last election, the NDC was so frightened, especially in Peki, where I live and come from. The NDC sent, within 5 days, one day they sent the chief of staff, another day they sent the Minister of Interior, and the 5th day they sent the Speaker of Parliament. Parliament was sitting, but Speaker of Parliament, Duajaho, left Parliament to come to our place, one after the other. It is only when there is war in a place that you take Minister of Interior, Chief of Staff, Speaker of Parliament to go. It means that there's a real threat in a place.
Right.
And which is why we are organizing. Our position is that if in South-Dine we manage to win, it will be an inspiration for the rest of the country that, if pro-Nkrumah parties unite like this, they can win. Then other people may try to copy us, and that there can be a change. Because people are also tired with NDC, MPP, swing song. It's true that people are tired. They want to try something too and see whether that one will be different or it will look the same.
So that is not the movement.
That is what I'm doing. Yes. So South-Dine, we have succeeded there in having unity there. So I hope that our example in South-Dine, if we win the election in 2020 in South-Dine, it will give encouragement to other people.
Wow. Wow. Any other last words you want to share with the Socialist Movement Congress?
What I'll say is that, see, when I go to ordinary people, I don't go and say socialism or whatever, because the important ideology is important. But the main thing is that after you have an ideological position, you have to apply it in the society at large. That is why I was breaking it down to those 5 points. Because the kind of arrangement we have since independence is not working for us. You get it? Everybody knows. You know. Even the ministers know that's not working for it. African people know they are not happy. Otherwise, people will not be crossing the seas, falling into the sea. Who wants to fall in the Mediterranean Sea just because they want to survive? Look at the boats. The dinky boats in which our people are traveling between North Africa and Europe to just come to another person's country to clean the toilet and do all manner of menial jobs when we have the greatest minerals in our soil. You know, a friend of mine one day came and was addressing a meeting in SOAS here. And then he said, he had a joke. He said, when God was creating the world, other people were complaining, oh, why are you putting all these minerals, uranium, everything in that continent? What about we, the other people in the world? And so, you don't worry. He said, God told them, don't worry. You wait and see the type of rulers I'll give to them. They will all, everything will come back to you. So, and that is it. Everything is coming back to Switzerland and other places.
Right.
Meanwhile, the gold, it comes out of our soil.
Yeah.
When diseases come, it will affect us.
Mm-hmm.
When, because they have removed it, our place is full of craters and holes, it's our problem. Yeah. Then it comes here.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something, but these days I've decided to be a bit so. So, Andy.
Right.
Yeah. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, and I thank you. I thank you for that insight. It's been a great experience. I mean, I've been listening to Nana Adumakwe and how he escaped into exile. And I think you've done tremendously well with your escape and sharing your life.
And I will not stop with the escape, that we have to go forward.
Sure.
Yes, and that is why we in South Dying, I came here, I learned from other movements, I met other people, I met people from Turkey, Anatolia Cultural Group, they talk about people's constitution. You see, they say travel and see.
Yeah.
So I traveled and saw, and I've also learned something, because some people may take money home, some people will also take ideas home.
Yeah.
So travel and see.
Well, you heard it all from Explo Nani Kofi, all the way from Ghana. We would like to say a big thank you to him for his time dedicated for this program. And remember, this is the Hour Show on Andy D TV. Remember to subscribe on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Join us same time next week. Goodbye and good day.